If you were to make a list of the most common feline stereotypes, there's a good chance that frequent grooming would be near the very top of that list. If a cat is awake, if they're not enjoying a meal or enjoying the pleasures of a great adventure or a cuddle time, there's a good chance they are grooming, keeping that fur nice and clean while also removing debris, most notably loose fur. However, your cat could be sending you a vital message with their grooming habits. Aggressive grooming, overgrooming, grooming that seems to go beyond the bounds of typical hygiene. This is a red flag, and the visual, it's an important message that you need to not only be mindful of, but be proactive in an effort to uncover the true reason for your pet's intense behavior. In today's material, we'll talk about the fine line between common grooming compared to that of overgrooming, and we'll also list a few of the most notable reasons as to why your cat or any cat could go from common relaxed to a grooming style that appears very angry, aggressive, and with potentially harmful intent. The purrs and the meows, your cat's body language, all important tools of communication, but the way in which your cat grooms, there could be much more to the story than meets the eye. Interesting topic and hopefully an educational one. I've got you covered. Stay tuned. On the surface, because feline grooming is so very common, as an owner, it can be concerning when your cat stops grooming. In fact, in many cases, one of the alarm bells that often signals if a cat is unwell is the display of an unkempt appearance. A healthy cat, an able cat, would never neglect their appearance. Grooming is common. It's what cats do. It's who they are. One of the signatures of domestic cats, and the absence of grooming, it's also a signal of potential trouble. However, what happens if your cat's grooming now borders on perpetual? What happens if your cat begins to treat their own fur almost like the enemy? What happens if it looks like your cat is, quite frankly, doing more harm to themselves rather than the basic hygiene? Compulsive grooming and grooming to excess can be very dangerous, especially over time. If a cat is too aggressive, bald patches can form due to large chunks of fur simply being ripped out, and not to mention skin damage. Irritated skin can bleed, and this opens the unfortunate door of infection. What begins as a case of aggressive grooming can really spiral out of control in a hurry if the core reason for this new behavior is not identified and remedied. Overgrooming it can introduce a significant choking hazard. With large amounts of fur being removed in addition to existing loose fur, the fur balls that your cat is now dealing with are likely larger than ever, and this quite naturally becomes a problem. So it's fairly obvious there is nothing positive about aggressive grooming. The act itself is a form of self-harm, and action needs to be taken in a timely fashion. With respect to this vital message that your cat is attempting to send to you, in the same way that a healthy cat would never willingly appear unkempt, a content feline would never overgroom to the extent of self-harm. Something, either a health matter or an external issue, is causing the desire and perhaps the need to be so aggressive. Let's first start with the external, your cat's environment. If something is making a negative impact on your cat and it's not being resolved, or your pet is unable to resolve it themselves, the issue will likely fester emotionally. This can lead a cat into a state of anxiousness and uncertainty. Something is off and wrong in the routine. A certain level of trust perhaps has been broken, or at least perceived to be broken. The machines, they just aren't running like normal, and the cat is distraught. Overgrooming and aggressive grooming, this is almost like a tantrum, a mix between anger expressed and an attempt to soothe by taking out frustrations. Overgrooming and aggressive grooming that is being caused by external factors can also be a cat acting out in other ways. Relationships with people, objects in the home. The cat could be aggressively grooming one moment and chewing up the sofa the next. It's all a means of redirection, taking out the negative or taking on the negative themselves and on other things. From very personal experience as a cat owner, many years ago, my senior cat Burl, he fell unwell just at the notion that kittens were now entering the home. I took in several kittens, and his days of being the only cat in the home were over. He didn't know what to make of things. That's an understatement. It was clear that he was questioning his own standing in the home, and while all of this was going on, he was just pulling out his fur left and right. Very upset, very confused. He was, to put it mildly, an emotional wreck. Once I realized what exactly was going on, I made it a priority to comfort Burl, let him in on the action. I introduced him to the new kittens and allowed him just to check everything out on his own time, on his own terms. Well, long story short, within about a week, he was able to realize that additions to the home didn't mean his subtraction from the home. He understood that I loved him and was still going to give him everything like I'd always done and had before, but we were just going to have a few other cats joining the family. Once he understood, he actually became what amounted to a grandfather or even like an uncle to those kittens. In fact, in the summer of 2019, when Burl passed away, he did so in his sleep, just feet from the kittens he embraced as his very own family. But yes, to the larger point here today, stress and anxiety from external factors, especially from external factors, they can cause cats to overgroom, even to the point of self-harm. Now, we've mentioned the external issues, real or perceived, with the home environment, but what about a cat's general health and wellness? Cats are quite good when it comes to masking pain. This is obviously an instinctual play. Out on the land, out in the wild, the very last thing a sick and unwell cat would ever want to do is to visually appear to be the weakest link, sticking out like a sore thumb. When you are both predator and prey, you always need to act the part, even if you're unwell. This one, for cat owners, can be very, very tough, as sometimes it can really take a lot for a cat to showcase their negative feelings, especially around a new owner or a total stranger. However, with respect to our topic today, if your cat is sick, any cat is sick and injured, whatever the case may be, aggressive grooming could be done as a means to exercise that frustration, the aggravation of being in pain, and also for the purpose of self-soothing. Of course, the physical discomfort and the root cause of illness, identifying that is certainly the next step here. However, in the very short term, please understand that your cat's overgrooming could be due to a medical condition, even a medical emergency, especially if overgrooming is something that just recently came about after basic hygiene, all that time without issue. If all of a sudden overgrooming seemingly just appears, there's definitely a problem. Something has turned negative, and unfortunately your cat's health could be responsible for your pet's desire to remove large chunks of fur, and once again, even self-harm. Aggressive grooming beyond the externals and the internals of a health concern, a health matter. It's also common for cats to self-groom if they're simply just not getting what they want, what they need. This has less to do with the actual environment per se, and more to do with relationships, human relationships. Let's say cuddle time, for example, is at a minimum or completely non-existent. Playtime, other forms of positive enrichment, just nowhere to be found. If a cat is unable to be a cat and have those moments of stalking and hunting and just playing around and getting that love and attention, this can cause aggravation and uneasy feelings. In this example, a cat could absolutely love the home environment, at least sort of on its face, just fine, but they're just not able to do what they want to do and what they need to do. They're bored, and sometimes a bored cat can unfortunately be a bit of a dangerous cat, at least in terms of the chances they might take in order to gain or garner or even receive attention and blow off some of that pent-up energy. This, at least in part, can not only lead to aggressive and constant grooming, but also, unfortunately, negative behaviors. Some cats, almost like children, there's that cats and kids example that I go to quite often, but some cats, just like kids, if they're not getting the attention, they'll make their presence known in very negative ways. This can include jumping up on the kitchen counter, the dinner table, that off-limits bookshelf. Cats are very sneaky in this way, and they know how to push those human buttons, and sometimes a feline that is bored and feeling ignored will not only resort to aggressive grooming, but also attention-seeking behaviors just simply to get noticed. Alright, now that we've covered the notable reasons for overgrooming and the vital message or messages that your cat could be sending you by this behavior in this manner, what are the solutions? Things to remedy the situation, things that you can do. First, and quite obviously, make sure that your cat is A-OK in the health department. That comes before anything else, before anything in the environment is to be checked out or changed back, I should say, before any changes and stresses in the home. Make sure your cat's aggressive grooming is not due to pain and discomfort, a skin issue. Make sure your pet's overall health standing is in high quality. And whether the root cause is health-related or not, a vet checkup should still be in order if your cat's grooming has caused harm to the skin. Allow a professional to examine your cat and, at the very least, treat any skin damage that has been caused by the excessive grooming. Next, if your cat has indeed been given a clean bill of health, which is certainly the hope, do your very best to calm your pet's nerves and create a cat-friendly environment in the home. This not only means a home within your home for the cat, with proper bedding and toys, but grant your cat stability and comfort. Make sure the routine is sound and consistent. Also, as much as possible, make sure that your time spent with them is also consistent. Your cat's overgrooming and strange behavior, if it's due to boredom and a lack of positive enrichment, let's close that gap. And just like my example with my senior cat and those kittens, if a change in the environment simply can't be undone, allow your cat to explore the change, to engage in the change. Give them time to embrace the change while also showing them comfort and support and compassion. Let them know that the changes, whatever they are, have no direct connection to their own place in the home, and that the love that you'll show. Cats, felines that live in the home, one of their biggest fears is that the safety and security they've come to love will vanish. It's your job to reassure to your pet that all is well, even though things in the environment are now a bit different. Addition doesn't equal subtraction. Good health, a peaceful environment, and quality stress management. Do all this, add the proper dash of love and respect, and your cat, well, they should be just fine. To the audience of Senior Cat Wellness, what are your thoughts on this topic? Do you have personal stories to share? Has overgrooming ever been a major concern for you as a cat owner? That comment section, as always, it's all yours. And if you enjoyed this content, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you as a member of the Senior Cat Wellness family. And until next time, thank you so very much for watching, and I will talk to you later.